Hello everybody, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asad Sultan Khan and you're watching The Health Show. Today we're going to be joined in by Ognjen Topic, a professional Muay Thai fighter who has been a world champion Muay Thai for three consecutive times. He's also been the champion of Lawn Fight. He's a sports ambassador for On It, and also is leading champion in the sports. He's just going to be joined. He's going to join in very soon. Hello, Saad, how are you? How are you, Saad? What's up? How's everything going at Isaac? Hello, everybody. Hello, Laiba. How are you guys? So today I'm going to be asking key questions from Ognjen. So here he is. All right, Saad, you could start a show with me. Hello again. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the show. I've been waiting for this show for a little while on. But let's begin. First of all, tell us everything about yourself. Tell us who Ognjen Topic is. What is your inspiration? How did you entered Muay Thai? How did you enter into the world of fighting? You had a bachelor's degree from William Paterson University in Fine Arts. Tell us about that as well. Tell us everything about yourself.
Okay. Well, I started Taekwondo when I was 14 years old, and then I did that up until about 18 years old, and then I moved into Muay Thai, and then I started my Muay Thai professional career, and now I'm 34 years old. So since 18 to 34, I've been fighting, and during that time, I went to college as well. Like you said, William Paterson University. I got my fine arts degree, and I had a very good job and a career as a graphic designer. But it was becoming very difficult for me to do graphic design and then train to fight at a high level. So I had to choose one, and of course I was going to choose Muay Thai. So I quit my graphic design job and I focused everything on Muay Thai, and here I am now.
Wow, this is great. Can you tell us, okay, so my next question is about this. Tell us about your Muay Thai journey and what have you basically learned from these experiences, from the very start at the age of 14 when you entered Taekwondo, and all the other sports that you've been a part of, boxing, all the other sports that goes into Muay Thai and winning a world champion three times. Tell us everything about it. Tell us the learnings that you developed from these things.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think I learned much from those sports because as a person, and my mentality was already forged. So how can I learn something from that sport if I already had that mentality to go into that sport? So I already had my mentality that was already forged, and that was just looking at other people, learning from them, specifically learning from my father, and looking at other people and how they make mistakes and trying not to make those same mistakes. But the mentality was already there. The only thing I would say that Muay Thai and fighting has helped me is everything after this is just easy. Anything I want to do, I feel like I can do, because I don't think anything is more difficult than the sport, unless you're actually putting a rifle in your arm and then going into war and fighting against real opposition. But other than that, I don't think anything is more difficult and more challenging than this sport.
Wow. All right. So how would you define or describe the differences between Muay Thai and UFC or the MMA? What do you think about those two sports?
Yeah, Muay Thai is strictly a stand-up sport, so you're only fighting on your legs and using all of your limbs. And MMA is similar to Muay Thai, except they can also go on the ground and do their jiu-jitsu work or wrestling work. And to me, it just never really appealed to me, the ground aspect of fighting. I just wanted to stand there and fight. I think that was more of a challenge for me. So, you know, that's why I always chose either Muay Thai or I would choose boxing if I had to pick out of the two.
Right. And, talking about your experience with Muay Thai and, with Taekwondo and all, the life of fighting, what has been your biggest failure in, all of these, fighting times and years all along? What has been your biggest failure and what did you learn out of it?
There's been a couple of failures, or I would say just one major one, and that was when I lost last year. It was a TKO. I lost to another fighter, and that was my first technical knockout loss. And but you know, I learned that I shouldn't be in that weight class. A lot of the times I would take fights just so I can fight, and sometimes the weight classes wouldn't be the same. And so, you know, I would end up losing some of these fights because of that situation. So now, you know, I'm strictly going to be focusing on one weight class. If I can't fight because I can't find an opponent in that weight class, then so be it. But I'm going to stay in that one weight class, and that's it. I can't just accept any fight that is presented to me. And so, yeah, I mean, that was the biggest learning lesson. And I think that's about it. I mean, coming back from that, it wasn't that difficult mentally because, you know, it was my first technical knockout loss. Because, you know, I knew that I'm still the same fighter that I was before. It was just a difference in that size, you know. And let's say if you're fighting at a lower weight, lower level. Then weight is not going to really matter too much because, you know, both guys don't have the experience. They're not as good. But when you're fighting at an elite level and at the highest level, then the smallest little differences make an impact.
Wow, that is so true. Topic. My next question is: how can the people listening to us right now? How can they develop the fighter mentality? Right, the fighter mentality that is so inspiring because it makes you go through every single thing in life. It's not just about the ring, right? It's about the whole life, every single thing that happens in life. So how can the listeners really develop a fighter's mentality to win at life, both personally and professionally?
There's no simple answer for that. The best way to do that is to force yourself to do the difficult task. That's the only way. There's no other way. You have to force yourself to do it. And once you do it, and you do it with confidence, and you do it with belief that you can go through with that task, whether it's fighting or whether it's like a business meeting that you have to present to hundreds of people. You know, some people are afraid to talk in public spaces. You know, whatever that task is, you have to force yourself to do it. And when you do things under pressure, and when you do things when your back is up against the wall and you have no other choice, you're not giving yourself any other choice, that's when you're going to perform at the highest level as well. You're going to be the best at that moment when your back is up against the wall. That's if you are that person that wants to survive, you know. Not everybody's meant for that. Not everybody's meant for that type of lifestyle. But at least if you fail, you're going to realize something about yourself. You're either going to say, okay, I'm going to try it again, or number two, this is not for me. I have to go do something else. And you'll at least know that about yourself.
That is very true. But for many people out there, they have a problem with being disciplined about this, right? Being disciplined to, force yourself to go work out every day, force yourself to eat healthy, force yourself to, sleep on time, everything. How do you take that? How do you advice on that? How can people build resilience and self-discipline?
Well, you have to look at the end goal. Whatever the end goal is, that's what you have to focus on. Everything in between is just something that's necessary to be done in order to achieve that end goal. So for me, I don't like to train either. I really don't. Because, I mean, if, I'm training at a high level, and I'm kicking those pads 100%, and I'm hitting the pads at 100%, and you get tired. I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be tired. I just want to sit around and relax, you know. But
Yeah.
the fact that I want to continue being a champion and getting more championships and more world titles, I have to put that work in, whether I like it or not. That's it. It doesn't matter to me anymore. It has to be done, and so that's one way that I motivate myself. It's just that I want more of those titles. So everything in between, I have to do.
So it's like, having the end goal, something you're looking forward to. So that thing, ultimately pushes you and drives you to do more and more every single day, right?
Correct.
Having that in mind every single day.
Correct.
Thank you for that. My next question is, you being an expert in, sports and fighting and Muay Thai, it's very important for you to be here at the Health Show. And so I want to ask you this. I want you to give us 3 key insights to our listeners for a better exercise routine.
For what kind of exercise?
Any exercise. So, for just to, go into exercise, how can they perform better, not have injuries or,
Oh, okay.
just being the habit, developing the habit of, exercising daily.
Well, not having injuries, I would have to say that you have to work on your technique first, and that goes for, again, anything, anything that you're doing physical. You have to work on your technique, and then you have to intake the correct food, nutrition. Water is a huge part of that, and you have to make sure you drink enough water in order to prevent injury. And then number 2, I would say take your time. Before you have to realize that you need good technique and a good foundation. And then number 2, you don't have to rush. There's no need to rush. Get down the basic movement and how you're supposed to be doing things correctly, and then speed and everything else, power is going to come later on with time and with experience. So there's no need to rush. And then number 3, I would just say to stay calm. I think in any situation that you're just starting out, you have to stay calm and you have to stay grounded. By grounded I mean just calm. That's probably the best word you can describe it as.
Thank you. I feel like this is one of the most important things, and this is one of the most, inspiring things about you guys. Because when I see fighters, when I see Muay Thai fighters, when I see MMA fighters, when I see people from this field, from this industry, what I see is calmness. I see a profound calmness. Like, you guys are really calm in front of everything, and so that is something which is the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I first started watching Muay Thai, that's what attracted me to the sport. The fact that they were so strong and so calm. It didn't look like any other fighting sport that I saw. And so that attracted me about that, and then I just copied that and I put it into my fights and my training, and it worked out well for me. I just stayed calm, and I just believed that if I stay calm, I'm going to be able to think clearly. And that's exactly what happened. So that's what helped me out as an amateur fighter when I was first starting out.
Wow, that is absolutely great. My next question is about this. Give the listeners at least 3 key insights for better sleep routine and for a better diet.
Well, better sleep. I mean, that's difficult for me too. Sometimes you just have things on your mind and you're not able to fall asleep. But what I like to do is just make sure I work out hard throughout the day. And then that, kind of tires me out, and then I'm able to fall asleep easier. And then sometimes, you can just try to clear out your schedule for the next day, maybe push everything back and try to sleep in a little longer if you're backed up on sleep. But you should be able to get, or you should strive to get at least 7 to 8 hours. And if you don't, I know it's difficult for everybody because, everybody has a different type of job, but if you can sleep maybe like an hour throughout the day, that would work out as well. Sometimes for me, it takes me a while to fall asleep, but even if I'm just laying down for about 15-30 minutes with my eyes closed, I wake up and I feel even more refreshed. You think that that coffee and caffeine is going to wake you up, but it has no effect on me anymore. But if I just take like 15 minutes out of my day or 30 minutes out of my day and I try to catch like a dream or fall asleep, even if I don't fall asleep, like I was saying, if I'm just laying down with my eyes closed, I feel way more refreshed than I would with 3 cups of coffee, you know? Um, and so that would be for the sleep. For nutrition, I mean, that's also difficult because I have issues with nutrition too. You know, I like to eat a lot of sweets. I like to eat burgers, you know, steaks, but you can't eat too much of that stuff. You know, if you're trying to watch your weight. So I think like everybody says already, you know, everything in moderation. So if you can try to limit the amount of the bad stuff that you eat, you know, and mix it up with some of the good stuff, then it should be okay.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so my next question is, about something that I feel like is not given the due attention it deserves. I feel like mental health is not talked about enough. I feel like it's not given the attention that it needs to be given. And even if it is, talked about, the people, all around focus on the problem and not the solution itself, right? And I feel like people, there needs to be build a culture more and more to drive people to therapy. Like it's okay to go to therapy. Like it's okay to go to gym for your physical body. It's okay to go to therapy for your mental body, right? And so I want to know what's your take into mental health. What do you think about it?
I've never went to any mental, like mental therapy or seen a psychiatrist, or even there's a lot of sports. What is that called? Sports psychology, I think, or maybe
Yeah.
guys that work in that field and they talk to fighters about how to have high confidence, how to work on their self-esteem. I've never had that either, and for me, simply, I just never needed it. I just dealt with all of my issues myself, and the way I did that is by asking myself questions. So, for example, let's just take an example. You break up with your girlfriend, or let's say your girlfriend breaks up with you, right? So the first question is, okay, why did my girlfriend break up with me? Okay, let me see. She said that I cheated on her. I did this. I did that. Okay, well, if you cheated on her, well, there's your answer right there. You already fixed that problem for yourself. Why need to go in another route? You made the mistake, and that's it. You have to deal with that mistake. So the same thing. If you flip that around and you say, okay, I broke up with my girlfriend. Okay, I broke up with my girlfriend, but I still feel very sad about it. Why do I feel sad about it? Well, because I still have feelings towards her. Well, okay, I have feeling towards her, but what did she do for me to break up with her? Okay, she cheated on me. Well, there's your answer right there. Why would you want to be with somebody if they cheated on you? So I mean, you can kind of solve all these issues just by asking yourself questions, and that's how I solved all of my problems with myself. I never went to anybody. I never went to my father, my mother for advice. I just asked myself questions, and I went down the list, and that's how I solved these issues that I had.
Thank you so much for this beautiful insight. I believe it's very crucial and essential to ask yourself the right set of questions, right? Because what do people do? They start overthinking, and once they start overthinking, they start to ask the wrong questions, right? They don't keep themselves accountable, number one, and secondly, they don't ask themselves the right set of questions, that empowers them in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, my next question is related to, you winning titles, you being a world champion in Muay Thai. I want to ask, what did it really took? What amount of hard work, what amount of effort, energy, emotional effort, time, years, money, whatever it took, what was required to win Muay Thai World Championship 3 times?
Well, yeah, like you said, it took a lot of time, effort, but to me, it didn't really matter because this is what I love, and when you truly love something, then you don't need to motivate yourself. You don't need yeah, you just want to get that achievement, the highest level of achievement that you can get within that field. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be going out with friends, and even if I did go out with friends, I would still make sure, I wasn't drinking or eating too much. we would all go out to like a restaurant, and my friends would be eating like steaks and stuff, and I would have to make weight for a fight, and I wouldn't even eat anything. I would just have to watch my weight. And then as far as the alcohol, I never really drank either, so that wasn't an issue. Or sometimes like I would go to a party when I was younger, and then I would park my car far away, where I would have to, after the party from the house to the car, I would have to run to get to the car. So that was my exercise, and that's like at 1 a.m., And then the next day I would still have to train. So it's that type of mentality, always trying to work and better yourself. Because let's say if I took the time out to go to a party, then I would feel bad that I went out and I partied and not did any sort of like work, physical work for my sport. So then I would do something like that, and then that would make me feel better. Whether that would make a difference or not, it didn't matter. It made a difference up here, and that's the most important thing, because that's what would give you that self-confidence and make yourself feel assured. So it was that. I had to not have girlfriends, because that would take a lot of time away as well. And as soon as I would get in to a relationship with a girlfriend, and it would start getting too close, and then she would start talking about future things, I would have to cut it off, because I already saw that there was going to be an issue. I had to just focus on Muay Thai, and that was it. And then with my parents as well, I mean, I had to make sacrifices with that, because as an amateur fighter, they didn't allow me to fight. So my whole amateur career I did behind their back. They didn't even know that I was doing Muay Thai until one time my father found out, and we didn't speak for about 4 months because he found out that I was fighting. And then when I turned professional fighter, I sat both of them down, and I told them that they have to choose. I gave them an ultimatum. They're either going to choose to support me, or this is going to be the last time that they're going to see me. And that was difficult for me, because I love my parents. My parents brought me to America to give me a better life. And so, I knew my mother was going to say, okay, I will support you. But I thought my father was either going to say, okay, I will support you, or he would say, okay, get out of the house, and that's it. We're never going to see each other. But thankfully, fortunately, he supported me fully, and that's that. But I was willing to risk everything, and I'm still willing to risk everything, because I haven't achieved everything that I want to achieve. There's always something more that you can do.
Wow, I don't have words to fully describe the inspirational thing that just came out of you right now, because what you just said, that statement, you're ready to risk everything out for this end goal, and that is, I feel, the only distinction. That is what makes the winners separate from the losers, right? This is the distinction, because they are willing to risk everything, right? And that is very beautiful, and that is why winners are very rare, right? It doesn't happen every day. Winning doesn't happen every day. And just like what you were saying earlier, when you were partying, so you would run out after the party, so just to make up it for for the mental thing, not for the physical thing, obviously. I feel like it's very important, because there's another thing that resonates with this, because if you have time for partying, you definitely gotta need to have time for working out. Like, it's just an excuse. If you're saying you have a lot of stuff going on in your life, you're just making excuses, right?
Yeah.
This is for people who make a lot of excuses.
Right.
What do you want to say to people who make a lot of excuses to work out, to do whatever they want to do, and they're not doing that, what they need to do, what they want to do, and then making all the excuses? What would you say to them?
Well, I think the biggest thing is finding what you want to do, and I think that's the most difficult thing, it seems like, for people. But when you find something you want to do, and I really don't know how to go about doing that. But when you do find something that you want to do, you'll know, because you won't be making these excuses anymore. You're just going to be focused, and you're going to be going towards that goal, and that's that. Nothing else is going to stand in your way, whether it's a loved one, a girlfriend, your family members. Everything is going to be pushed to the side.
Exactly, definitely. My next question is, Ognjen, please give us your everyday training routine. It's going to be a big, massive lesson for us, and we're going to see how 3 times Muay Thai World Champion trains every day. This is going to be big.
Well, right now I'm only training once a day mainly. Sometimes I do twice a day, but right now I'm just trying to keep my cardio level at a at a good level where I can just start training within 3 weeks and then be able to fight, or 2 weeks and be able to fight, because you don't want to overexert yourself as well. You know, you have to watch how much you put in when you don't have a fight coming up. So right now I just I hit my pads, the focus mitts pads. I get about 4 to 5 rounds of that. I do some technical stuff with drills, and then I spar, and every once in a while I'll clinch and maybe some weights, and that's pretty much it. That'll take about an hour and a half, 2 hours of your day, excuse me, for that one training session. But when I train in Thailand, we wake up in 6 a.m. in the morning, and then we go for a run, and the run is about 1 hour. Then we come back to the gym, we hit the bag, we lift weights, sometimes we spar, and then if you have a fight coming up within the 2 weeks, then you have to hit the pads as well in the morning. And then you go back, you eat, you sleep, because you have to make sure you're well rested for the next training session. For athletes, sleep is one of the most important things, like we were discussing before. Then you wake up at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or you don't wake up, but you probably wake up earlier, but you train again at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You go for a short run, maybe like 20-25 minutes. Then you come back, you hit the bags again, and then you hit the pads. Then you either box, spar, or you can also clinch as well. Clinching is anywhere from about 30-45 minutes to an hour sometimes, and then after that you do some conditioning and weight work as well. So it's constant. You're constantly putting your body under that kind of stress, so you're going to be well prepared when you go into fight.
Wow, this is amazing. And so during those training days in Thailand, how many hours of sleep do you get every day, and what do you eat?
Well, it depends as far as the sleep. Sometimes you're getting like 6 hours. Sometimes you just can't fall asleep because your body's still moving after that second session. Or sometimes you just have things on your mind, But I'm always trying to get, like I said before, at least 7 to 8 hours, and I try to sleep between the sessions a little longer, So I'm trying to make up for that as well. And as far as the food goes, rice is like the base, because you always need the carbs for our sport. So rice and some protein, and we generally eat fish, chicken, or some kind of beef, and vegetables as well. And that's pretty much our diet. So we eat that after that morning training session, and then when we wake up, like around 12-1, I usually eat like 2 to 3 hours before my next training session, and then I eat the same thing, protein and carbs, and then after the training session, obviously you need to eat as well, which is pretty much the same thing but I try to limit the amount of carbs that I eat at the end, because I don't need, my body doesn't need energy anymore. It needs just protein and recovery fuel. So I generally stick with just vegetables and protein. Eggs, again, chicken, or some kind of other meat at the end of the training session.
Great. All right. Again, please, this is now one of the most exciting questions that I have in the show, right? And this is, if you have the time, energy, all the money to do anything in this world to keep yourself healthy, what would you do? Like, you have all the money, you have all the time, you have all the energy.
I would probably race cars. Yeah.
So you want to become the next Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah, I would love to do that, because I loved cars since I was a kid. But
you love the adrenaline rush.
What's that?
You love the adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah, exactly that. And I love everything about cars. The noise that they make, the mechanical aspect of cars, and there's a lot of similarities between. Actually, there's a lot of similarities in anything you do at a high level, elite level. I always use the analogy as far as Formula One racing goes. People ask me how do you keep balance when you're kicking? Well, in order to keep balance, if you try to kick right and stand on one leg and you do it very slowly, it's going to be very difficult to hold that balance. But if you just kick as fast as you can, it's very easy to hold that balance. So you have to do everything at a maximum level in order for your body to work efficiently. Same thing with Formula One driving. In order for the race cars to stop efficiently, they have to go as fast as they can, which makes no sense. In order to stop, you have to go fast. So that's, and in order for that to happen, you have to heat up the brakes so they work properly, because they use specific type of brakes. They're not just regular brakes that you have in your car. So it's the same mentality. You have to do everything at the highest level, and you have to do everything at 100% in order to for things to come together and work as efficiently as possible.
Wow. But when you're working out, at your 100%, when you're working at the optimum, and just like you mentioned, your body takes a toll, right? And we've seen fighters throughout history. We've seen, people talk about Muhammad Ali, getting injured, after years and years of boxing because, getting a lot of, all those problems, in his head. So what do you think about that? What do you think, even in training, even in not, fighting days, the off season, when you're working, twice a day, your body might take a toll, it gets exhausted, the muscles, burn out, you burn out. How do you understand that? How do you maneuver that? How do you tackle that out?
Well, as far as yes, so I made a mistake by saying you always have to work at 100%. You can't work at 100% every single day because, like you said, your body's going to end up failing. So you have to work at 85%, 90%, and then every couple of days you work at 93%, then you can still be able to recover within your training session, and then you still be able to recover to work the next day also. So yes, you can't go at 100% all the time. Otherwise, then you reach a point where your body can't come back down and recover as fast as it can. So yes, moderation again is a very big thing. You have to moderate with how much you put that effort into it, and obviously to limit the amount of injuries you get as well.
Great. Again, my last question is, what's that one thing you want to leave the audience with tonight?
There's so many different avenues you can take, but I guess something for everybody, you can just say, if you think, then you can, and if you can, then you will. That's it.
Period. End of story.
That's it.
Great. Thank you so much again for spending time, for giving me time here to be on the show. I'm honored to have you here. It has been a fantastic conversation. It has been a great episode. And I hope to see you again one day, next time soon in the future. Thank you so much for your time. Much love from Pakistan as well. We're all your fans here, and we're gonna do this again, soon.
Yep. Thank you and for having me, and thank you to all the fans over there listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Thanks.